And I think we see here lots of different, what's common wherever you are in your career, whatever your profession is, what's common throughout with all of you is the heart and the passion to make a difference. So anybody watching who has heart and passion for children can do this. Definitely. No specialized skills required. Definitely. And you can do it in a group setting, as in Women of Tomorrow, and it sounds like you have a combination of group and individual.
Yeah, we're primarily group settings and community-based, but we just feel like if we bring them together, have them count on each other, and let them do the work, so they understand that you don't just snap your fingers and things happen. You know, we want them to be involved in every phase of the projects, and bringing them into a group setting really helps out. And
then you have the one-on-one individual bond that you've clearly created, Anthony, with several different people.
Yes,
right.
And with Take Stock in Children, we meet with our mentees for 30 minutes once a week while school is in their schools themselves. So, and at the beginning, when they join the program, which often starts in middle school all the way through high school, we have them sign a contract to say that I'm going to work hard and at least maintain a C average, and then Take Stock guarantees them scholarships to college if they complete that program. And we have a 95% success rate, so it's wonderful.
That's awesome.
I think something that is important to mention, that I think you kind of brought it up, is that pretty much anybody can become a mentor as long as you have the will and the commitment. Like for example, in Big Brothers Big Sisters, we basically, when we assess, and we do it very professionally, we assess our children, we assess our volunteers, and then we classify them depending on the level of the need of the kid and the type of skills that the volunteer has to offer. And of course, if we have a kid that maybe has special needs or any behavioral aspects that not all the volunteers can handle, of course it's going to be matched with a specific volunteer who may have those skills. But then we have other kids that maybe what they just need is a male figure in their lives because their father was never in their life. And maybe, you know, just a normal, regular person who walks into the office with that will, with that intention, can fulfill perfectly that need. So it's not that we need anybody specifically, and there is not like we have walk-in mentors. I mean, everybody has the potential to be a mentor.
Yeah. And you need a lot more, from what I understand.
Definitely, certainly. I mean, we have, we get a lot of people inquiring to become a volunteer, but still the number of kids are always outnumbering by far the amount of, especially male volunteers who come into an organization willing to mentor a child, certainly.
And I would say that's true for Take Stock and Women of Tomorrow as well. I know they're always looking, and that the school board has sort of a way to filter that. Right. If you go to the school board site, you can get to their mentoring, the mentoring part of that, and look for all the different organizations and see what fits, also through CSC.
Right.
Of course.
But it means a lot to the children. Sometimes I'll get invited to have lunch in the high school cafeteria, which is really loud. But you know, when the girls walk with me, or you know, and I'm having lunch with them, there's always going to be the kids who are walking around, who is that? Who is that? Oh, that's my mentor. And there's such pride because, you know, that is somebody who's in their lives consistently. They can look to, and that's the neat thing with kids. They gravitate to somebody who's got that heart. They want to open their hearts and their minds to all the possibilities.
Would you say you get as much out of this as the children do? I think I know the answer, but...
A definite yes. A definite yes.
How about you, Brent?
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of work, but when you see the projects come together and you see all the fruit of that labor, and really the kids, once they get proud. They're very, very proud when they do something like that, and that really makes it, you know, all worth the while, you know. Even when you got to put stuff together the last second, you know. But you know, they're kids, and we definitely enjoy them. We meet once a month in a formalized meeting, but by being a community-based organization and bringing them into our fraternal family, we go to church with them. And we get to see them outside doing other community service events. So we probably see them, you know, 6 or 7 times in a month, be it a meeting, a church, community service event, a fun outing, you know, things of that nature throughout the month. And you really develop a bond. We get them interested in different things, book clubs, kind of bring them out their shell. It does a lot of things because unfortunately, a lot of our black males aren't reading at a high level. So to allow them to get introduced to the fundamentals of reading, how important it is, the type of things they can learn, and just a way that you can kind of do things with yourself in this book. Take yourself to a different world. You don't need a whole bunch of people around you to entertain you. You know what I mean? Right. You got exactly what you need to entertain yourself. As long as you read, and it can help them out in their schoolwork as well. So, and then that book club just opens them up, and you bring them to this setting and say, hey, what did you think about this, and what did you think about this chapter, and you'd be surprised how they interpret things, and it brings them out their shell a lot as well.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And you become a real friend of the child.
Yeah.
Like I remember once I was taking my little brother to the beach, and then we were talking in the car, and then I was telling him, you know what? You're right there, like with any other friend of mine, and I've been very fortunate to have many friends in my life, and you're right up there. The only thing is that you're little. But in reality, in terms of the affection and the bond, he's like any other friend, but he's little. So it's funny because he's like football built, football player built. He's actually at this time he's now bigger than I am. But in any case, yeah, it's a real friendship that you form. The only thing is that, of course, you have the. I'm 31 years his senior. I'm 50, so he's 19. So, I mean, I have the experience. I have, the life that I've lived that serves to his benefit. But other than that, I mean, he's just a friend. And actually, he was involved in a very difficult situation at one point. And then I went to visit him, and then he even mentioned to me, Eduardo, I want you to know something. And at this time, he was like 17, 18. I want to know you that in your life, if at any point you were to need it, I'm going to take care of you. That was huge. I mean, for a kid who in this case is going through so much struggle in his life, as he was and in a way is, and to come up with that distinction of selflessness, that as to be able to say, I'm going to take care of you, when I feel the provider in this case. It says about what type of relationships you form through mentoring.
And running into them later when they tell you what a difference you made. I know I'm also a mentor through Women of Tomorrow for about 6 years. And some months I wonder, am I reaching them? Do they care? I feel really good about this. And a couple of my girls are off in college, and they were like, you have no idea how much you meant to me and how important it was. And as they graduated, they said that as well. And I was like, wow, okay. It just, every month on the way in, I'm not sure how, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that. Will I be able to bring it this month? Right. But I leave with so much energy afterwards. Yeah. I get so much more out of it.
And there are times that even the mentor may not get to see what is exactly the impact that had on the child, because that happens, and especially in our program, that once the kid turns 18, basically the match formally closes, even though they still keep the contact. But whatever goes on afterwards, for sure that kid, maybe when he's faced with important decisions in his life, such as making a decision about marriage, about college, about furthering his education, whatever it is, then the voice of the mentor, when he was a child, is going to come up and help him in that moment. Right. So that's when you're making the impact, and maybe you may never get to know it. Right. But still, that somewhere down the line, your work is producing that benefit.
That's true. It has an impact just community-wide. The selflessness and the sense of pride and just the sense of knowing that a child can accomplish something is something that keeps a child out of the juvenile justice system. It keeps a child, working for something good within the community, and that's going to impact whomever it is could have had a harmful contact with the same child. Instead, it's not going to be harmful. This is a child. One of my kids, she screamed at me at the mall. I thought it was one of my daughter's kids. All I heard was, "This is Cobb." And my child, my mentee, is actually in nursing school, and she's about to, I think she's going to be working at Broward General, and I could not be more excited for her. This is a child who didn't say word one when she was a freshman, and now she's tall and she's so confident. And for the young women in our community, I've always been a big proponent to my girls that, you know, your body is your temple, you know. Respect yourself, and someone else is going to respect you right back, and that's key. These young people, they need to learn the value of protecting yourself from those harmful influences. And, you know, it does my heart good, and it sustains me, just that feeling of knowing that my kids are going to go on and do something really well with their lives. It really does. Whether they take the college track or they go and they work, you know, it means a lot.
Definitely, definitely.
It does.
And I think to know that the community cares about them,
Right.
too often they're labeled and at risk and a problem and all of these bad things, and they think the community doesn't want them.
Right.
They're cast-offs.
Yeah.
But this shows, no, in fact, the community does want them, wants to support them, and that they can be contributing members of this society.
Well, I did want to ask the Take Stock in the organizations, the corporate involvement. Do you find that a lot of businesses are now understanding that investment in children and encouraging their employees to go and participate as mentors, or what do you all find is?
And you're going to have to give a fast answer to
Okay,
that.
I think the local companies are very involved. In fact, they sponsor the scholarships that Take Stock provides, and so naturally they have their employees involved in the program.
Good.
That's great, and we're gonna have to stop on that note. And we heard about the importance of the ask, so I'm gonna ask you to become a mentor today. You've heard a lot of heartwarming and moving stories about the impact of mentoring on so many young people's lives, and now it's your turn. So call any of the agencies that were featured in this program or any other community organization that fosters mentorship or the school board of Broward County. Consider doing your part in being a positive role model to those who need one. I want to thank Anthony Thompson, Eduardo Noriega, Mariza Cobb, and Brent Folks for doing their part in inspiring us to action. I've been your host, Cindy Ehrenberg-Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County, where our mission is to empower Broward's children to become responsible, productive adults, capable of realizing their full potential, their hopes, and their dreams. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, please call the Children's Services Council at 954-377-1000 or visit www.cscbroward.org. Like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.